All right, amazing hackers, we are live. Wow, I am sorry I am a little bit late and I hope you're all doing well tonight. So, welcome to my kitchen. Yes, we are in my kitchen and I hope you guys don't mind that we are in my kitchen. I'm not going to share much of my screen today because I want to talk to you personally. I don't think it's very useful to present you all of these slides on a big screen and then just talk over them. I want to talk to you personally, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat and I can answer them as we go. First of all, thank you very, very much, OWASP Sastra, for organizing this event. It's so very, very nice of you to do this. Is the audio static? Is it bad, the audio at this moment? Should I do anything about it? If the audio is bad, feel free to let me know. I think I have everything correct right now, but it should be, it might not be. Anyway, if the audio is bad during the presentation, let me know. I can fix it. I can do something about it. So let's get started, shall we? Hello, amazing hackers. I don't have my phone with my mic. Oh wait, I do. It's underneath my mic. I cannot get my phone away from my mic because if I do that, then my mic would fall. So if it's really bad, please let me know. I'll get rid of it. So let's talk about bug bounties, shall we? Because bug bounties, in my opinion, is a very, very strange thing. Bug bounties is not even hacking anymore. And I know a lot of you will think it's hacking, and it sort of is, because of course you need to have a basic understanding of what hacking is before you can even start getting into all of these bug bounty things. Because bug bounties, in my opinion, is like the advanced form of hacking. What you're going to have first is you're going to have a hacker that's going to come and he's going to do a penetration test of the application. Then we're going to go onto a bug bounty platform, and on the bug bounty platform we're going to do some more testing. So I don't know, like for the there might be 10 people in front of us, there might be 20 people in front of us. It doesn't really matter, but there's always a lot of people in front of us which will test an application. At least for me, I am never the first person to reach it. I'm not much of a racer, so that means that normal hacking techniques will not work. I'm going to have to think outside of the box very, very carefully. Normal hacking techniques will not work, so I'm going to have to think of a plan that the hackers before me have not thought of. I'm going to have to think of something completely different. So for those guys of you who are just joining, bug bounties, we are usually the last in line to test one of the programs, but that's okay. It gives us quite an advantage as well because we don't have to rush. Rushing is the enemy, in my opinion. So what can we do about it? There's a couple of things that we can do about it because, of course, bug bounties, you guys know that a lot of people still do find bugs. Well, the most important thing is that you do find a bug bounty program that sticks to you, that you really like as a person. If you pick a bug bounty program that you don't like or even has some quirks that you don't like about it, then you're not going to stick with it. And that's very, very important because the most bugs, like I said, you're not going to find surface level bugs anymore. There are going to be penetration testers who will have gone before you, and those penetration testers will have tested the application. So all of that low level stuff should be gone by now, and it's up to us to find that deeper level stuff. And I don't know where people got this idea from, but it seems like some people have the idea that you can just start hacking something without knowing it. That you can just open a target on any random bug bounty platform and have at it and start hacking. That is so crazy to me to think of even, because if you really think about it, have you ever hacked anything that you didn't fully understand? And if so, would you be able to reproduce it? Would you be able to do that stuff again? In my opinion, I would not. For me, it's something I have to understand. So that's very, very important to me. I have to understand my program. That means I have to stick with it for a long time. Now, to do that properly, there are a couple of pointers I can give you guys. If you guys are beginners in bug bounties, picking a program is very, very important. Now, I'm going to quickly prepare something on my screen here so we can go over some of the public programs for integrity. And I want you guys to look at specifically how long it will take before we actually find a public bug bounty program that audio capture, and there we go. My audio was gone for a second, terribly sorry about that, but if everything is okay, you guys should be seeing my screen right now. So what I want to show you guys is this is integrity. Now let's say we are beginner bug bounty hunters. I know some of you have some experience. I know some of you are relatively new to this field, but let's take this bug bounty platform as an example. And let's look at the public bug bounty programs that we have on here. This offers up to 5,000 euros in bounties. Think about it, guys, 5,000 euros, that's pretty freaking cool if you ask me. But that's a lot of money, and companies are not going to give away their money for free. That usually means that these programs are going to be a little bit more secure than your average program. That's why I would advise beginners to skip this. They usually will have some more advanced security than some other programs that we are used to. This is a newspaper. For a newspaper, you're going to have a lot less functionality than what we desire, than what we are looking for. Newspapers are going to be very basic, and for a newspaper, we can log in, we can test the registration system, we can maybe test a paywall bypass, but that's about it. If we really want to get to the nitty-gritty details of a newspaper website, we will have to have admin access somehow, or we will have to make our own posts, maybe a commenting system, but we cannot go super deep in here. So again, skip it. If we look at Port of Antwerp, this is a wide scope program. So if I look at it, there's a pretty big scope in here. I would again skip it because for these recon targets, you're going to have to do a lot of recon, but then what? Say you find a good target. Then what? How are you going to hack it? You need to know how to hack first. It's very important. So that's why I say in the beginning, always skip weak recon programs, unless you're very targeted at that recon stuff, of course, then you can hack on them. But you can hack on any program you like, of course. It's not up to me to determine what you should hack on. This is just my advice. Now, if we move over to Visma, we again get quite big bounties, so that means that they're going to be a lot more protected. The same goes for the Cybersecurity Coalition. By God, I hope they are properly protected, because otherwise they are not worthy of that name. On to New Pharma, again, very big payouts. That's not usually going to be very easy to hack, and I actually order sometimes on that website, so that's why I test on it sometimes. But it's good for me because I want to know that the products that I use, that they are secure. Like PayPal, for example, I will hack a lot on PayPal. I haven't found anything proper yet. I thought I had something before, but I didn't. Now we're already quite a bit far down behind. We're 6 programs in. The 7th program I would possibly recommend, but not for the reasons that most people would think of, because if you look at the system, here we have again a very broad scope target. Now this broad scope target is going to make it so that, by quickly going to check, audio gone, okay, do you guys hear my audio right now? You guys should be hearing my audio, or is it gone? Okay, it should be back, right? The audio should be back. You guys should be hearing me. Everything should be fine. If not, please let me know, because otherwise I am talking to a wall, and that will not be good. Now, as for Hoppler, there is a very broad scope in here. There is an iOS application, there is an Android application even, and then there's a basic URL. Now, if we look at this again, recon, you might think, oh, I'm going to start up my engines, I'm going to see which subdomains I have, which is interesting, of course. But this also has a very broad main application that you can test on, and you can actually find a lot of things on the main application as well. So it might be interesting to test on this. It's a vulnerability disclosure program, which will help, of course. Vulnerability disclosure programs are often going to be a little bit less secure since they don't have to pay as much to be on a bug bounty platform. And then we also have, of course, if we look in here, we also have the service dashboard that's in scope. So it's really cool that they have so much in scope that we can actually test on, and they do offer accounts to actually test for. So recommended program definitely for me. But it's one of the few programs in the first few pages that you will find that I will recommend. If we look at this one, for example, this is a university, but the problem is this is very protected. This is going to be like trying to throw stuff at a wall and seeing what gets through, because you will not have any accounts, you will not have any really good tools, because you can only rate limit them to 2 requests per second. So of course it's not bad, it's definitely not bad. You can actually register for an account, you can log in, there are different things that you can test for on this scope, but it's going to be a lot more complicated than a basic website, of course. Now on to the next program. If we look at, let's see, where were we? Here we go, use at Leuven. This is for the hospital. Hospitals usually have a lot better security as well, I find, because hospitals are going to deal with patient data, and they usually want to hire a proper blue teamer to protect everything that they have in there. So as you guys see, that's quite a lot of things that you have to take into account. It's quite a lot of things that you always have to look for, but it's up to you to judge if you will like a target or not. Nobody can tell you this target is the perfect target for you. You're just going to have to find your own niche and find something that you're good at. But to find something you are good at, I'm going to recommend always that you pick a very non-complicated program. That's of course normal. If you pick a complicated program, you're going to have to learn all of the complicated technologies that go with it as well. If we look at Tomorrowland, they have very complicated technology as well. This is the school again. This is a newspaper, so we can sort of categorize them already, as you guys can see. This particular program doesn't open up a lot of scope. You need to apply for it, and it doesn't open up a lot of scope in the sense that it does have a lot of things in scope, of course, but I don't like it that much. There's not a lot of functionality on that website. It's basically a website for a television broadcasting organization, and what can you do on the website of a TV broadcasting organization? Not a whole lot, of course. Then we have Juki. Juki is basically an IoT speaker. You would have to own a device to be able to test it, of course. That makes an investment required. So again, I would skip it, not in the least for the IoT part, because all of these programs, everything that we are doing here, you basically have two things that you can look at. We are basically looking at either hacking a application under test itself, like for example a desktop application, like for example a mobile application. If we talk about IoT, we can investigate our applications themselves, or we can basically try to hack the API that they talk to. Since we live in 2021, basically everything has an API. My freaking fridge talks to an API, and that's, what the hell is it talking to? What the hell is it saying? So basically everything has an API, and in my opinion, if you learn to hack an API as a beginner, you're already 6 steps ahead of everybody, because you will be able to hack pretty much every program. All you'll have to be able to do is hack some of the parts on top of that a little bit. So that's basically it for the programs. Again, a newspaper, Fished, is going to be very secure. You have Telenet on here, which is a pretty decent program. Their scope has grown quite a lot, and they actually have a few tiers in here now. They have some things in scope as well, like Android and iOS. but that's going to add some extra complexity. And definitely if you're a client of Telenet, this is going to be interesting because they do allow all of that client stuff, all of main Telenet to actually check what you have and all of that stuff. That is also in scope. The yellow play is in scope. So as you can see, quite a lot of Telenet is in scope. Almost everything they have, except for things hosted by third parties or created by third parties. If we go back to our scope page, we look at Twago. It's almost so annoying that it always jumps. So Twago is basically a platform for looking for work. If I'm not mistaken, this is a branch of Randstad. Randstad is a pretty good program to hunt on as a beginner, but it's going to be broad scope again. So you're going to have to know a little bit about that broad scope stuff. Not directly recommended, but if you're into broad scope hunting, this might be very interesting. All of that recon part, think about Jason Haddix's bug bounty methodology. These things are perfect for that, of course. Moving on to the next target, let's quickly peek here, Showpad. Now this is finally starting to look like something. This is one of my favorite programs, simply due to the fact that it's a business-to-business program, meaning a lot of functionality is available. I'm going to have multiple accounts to test with, which I love because broken access control, IDOR, all of that stuff becomes possible. And it's also a pretty simple program. It doesn't encrypt any of its requests. It's basically straightforward. There's no GraphQL or any of that nonsense. It's just a program interacting with an API. So definitely recommend this program, but you will have to apply for it. Now, hardware.info is also like a newspaper website, like a news blog website, but I would recommend this target for one specific reason. They have very outdated technology. They use PHP. As you guys know, PHP is easier to make some mistakes in than other languages, but it's also easier to understand, so that's why I liked him as well. For this, basically, if you're looking to hack into a software that's easy to understand, that you can just analyze the requests off and send them off again to the repeater, this is going to be a pretty good program. It also has quite a lot of functionality because you can enter your own computer systems, you can enter benchmarks for those computer systems, uploading pictures is possible, so SSRF becomes an option because you can link to a picture as well. XXC because you can upload those pictures. As you can see, maybe XSS in a picture name. All of these things become possible suddenly with just a few things of extra functionality. So that's why I don't disagree with this program. I like it quite a lot. This was the program that I found my first valid vulnerability on as well. Now let's talk about Laatste Nieuws. This is again a newspaper website which don't interest me. Maybe if I would have had a subscription I might have tested on it, but for now I'm just going to leave it aside. As for Brussels Airlines, their actual booking page, they also have a bug bounty program. It pays off quite well. They do give you account and permission to book and all of that stuff, and how you can cancel any of that stuff. But you have to be careful because, of course, if you don't cancel your ticket, it's going to be charged to your credit card and all of that nonsense. So be careful. It's going to be a lot more complex than just a normal testing scenario, and I would stay away from it from the beginning. Now, I'm telling you guys, stay away from it from the beginning, and I mean from the beginning. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't never look at these. I mean, just investigate them when you have a little bit more experience. It really does pay off. And especially for these harder programs, they're not just going to give away their dirty little secrets. We're going to have to dig deep for those. If we look at Squill's responsible disclosure, Squills basically provides a inventory management system. I like it. I just don't know why. I like it for bus and rail systems, a ticketing system. So you can test a lot on here. I don't think they provide test accounts, as you can see. So that's kind of the annoying part, and that's in my opinion why they haven't received that many vulnerabilities yet. People are like me, we just don't want to hack on programs that don't give us credentials. It's an extra layer of complexity to hack those credentials. And that's not the type of hacking that I want to do. I want to focus more on the business side of things. I want to focus more on the outsmarting everybody and outthinking everybody side of things, not on the outscanning everybody with a scanner or anything like that. Napoleon Games, I love it. Napoleon Games works on WebSockets. Not a lot of developers know properly how to implement WebSockets safely. Not a lot of testers know how to test for WebSockets, so that basically means I love it. But the payouts are big. They are not just going to have anything available. These are quite complex situations, and I wouldn't directly go for it, but if you're in the mood for learning something new and hacking some WebSockets, that is always possible. Don't shy away from that program. By the way, we will answer your questions in a minute, guys. I'm going to finish this off and then we're going to look at those questions of yours. Integrity. Why not hack them, right? They practice what they preach, so you might as well give it a try. Why not, right? Why not? Of course, they're going to be a lot more secure than your average target on here, but it's always good. And that brings me to my next point as well. All of these different targets on here, a lot of people call it bug bounty hunting, and in my opinion, it's not even bug bounty hunting at all. Bug bounty hunting, that name implies that you're hunting on a target which you know has bugs on it. That's absolutely not what you're doing. What you're doing is testing if your target is secure against a hacker of your skill level. And the moment you start looking at like this, it becomes a lot less frustrating to not find anything, because that basically just means that your target is secure. We as bug bounty hunters, we get it stomped into our brains from left and right that bug bounties is mostly about making money and finding 10 to 15k vulnerabilities on Facebook. Well guys, those are the rules to the exception. Bug hunting should be about making the internet a safer place, not about lining up your pockets. It's as simple as that. I do like bug bounties, but if I wanted to make money with this stuff, I would go into pen testing. Bug bounties is basically harvesting the power of the crowd, because every single one of us has a unique viewpoint on life and has unique ideas that we can implement into our strategy for hacking these targets. Now, I said strategy there. I said strategy very, very deliberately, because we are not finding any use in a methodology. A methodology is a checklist that you go through each and every single time, and that you expect, like, okay, I'm going through this, exercise there, XXC there, blah blah blah. That's all fine and dandy, but what I've been trying to explain to you guys up to this point is that we're looking at each of these targets in their own right, and we're going to try to define a strategy per target every single time. It really doesn't matter whether we're hacking a newspaper, whether we're hacking a web shop, whether we're hacking a business-to-business application. What I always do is create a test plan before I start testing. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later, and I also released an article recently on Medium for that, so if you guys are interested on that, you guys can find it on my Twitter. It's at thexssrat, all together, no spaces. Now for Nexus Health, this is again a healthcare application, but you do have a website, Android and iOS app, so if you're interested in either Android or iOS hacking, this might be interesting to have a look at. But know that the requests are going to be built a little bit more complex than the other programs. For Humo, this is basically how do you say this? Again, like a newspaper type of website, bloggy, magazine type website. Not something that I would recommend in the beginning. Then we talk about, again, the school. I'm getting bored of seeing it right here because we're not ready for it yet, in my opinion. Those guys have some really advanced technologies, and I want to be able to hack properly, because I don't know about you guys, but when I've gone through my target once, it's going to be a lot harder to go through it a second time with the same objectivity. I know some of the processes by the time I went through my application, and by that time I'm automatically going to make assumptions, which I definitely don't want to do. So if I want to hack a target, I want to ensure that I hack it properly from the first time, that I don't spend weeks retesting my target in the hopes of finding something. No, I will retest, but I will retest every single couple of weeks just to actually see if my target contains new vulnerabilities. It's just that way in the agile methodology these days that targets, they do come out more and more quickly with new software. So that means that there's also more room for regression bugs. If we talk about Kinepolis Group, this is a cinema in Belgium, a cinema group. These are going to have some complex structure behind it, Matrix as well, and then we have DPG Media, not very interesting in my opinion, and then Tempo Team. Those are going to be somewhat more interesting again for the same reason as Randstad was interesting. They're going to be a vulnerability disclosure program, so they're basically going to have everything in scope that you can think of. As for Swevo, they have captured my heart with their beauty, and I will show you guys why. Because if you open this specific program, you may look at it, you may see the Swevo platform provides access to tracking data from the vehicles, blah blah blah. So this is basically a vehicle tracking system. Those things are awesome because they have a huge functionality scope in them. And if we look at these credential types, there are so many different levels of users that we can test broken access control with. Now, you might think, okay, it's annoying to think of what user can do what functionality, and that's really hard to think of ourselves. And you're right. That's why they gave us a freaking permission model, guys. I am excited like a little child when I see stuff like this. This makes me happy. This brings a smile to my face because I can test a lot better for broken access control issues in this way. I will print this stuff out and I will actually use it while I'm hunting. Now on to the next program so we can make some progress and get to your guys' questions. Swevo we had, then we have the Morgan. That's just a newspaper. Again, go for it if you have some more experience, if you think, oh, I can hack it this way, but think about it first, think about your strategy. Now, BlueMap is another interesting one I really wanted to show you guys, because read your freaking scope pages carefully. And don't think that Uncle Red didn't do this, because yes, guys, Uncle Red missed this too. You're not alone. But look at this. So you have your domains in scope, you have analytics.bluemap.org. By the way, can everybody read this? Let me zoom in a little bit. You have your chat.bluemap.org, you have meet.bluemap.org, and staging.bluemap.org. Now what I would do is, by the way, here is your favorite uncle, creating submissions left and right, bam, bam, bam. So what this program does is, what I would do is I would add these 4 URLs to my scope. And that would be about it. Maybe check the out of scope section. Oh, there's no specific URLs in here. And move on. Let's just start hacking. But look at this. The backend server and API lives on the HTTPS staging API URL. Oh dang, almost forgot about that. So it's a good thing that we actually looked at this properly. And we always read our scope pages right. Guys, we always do that. So on to the next program. Let's see. Here we go. We have our. So annoying that it always jumps up. So we have It's Me. That's going to be a identity management program. It's going to be super secure. At least not in the sense that they're unhackable, but they're going to have some more complexities to them if you want to hack on them. Not the least is I think you have to be a Belgian citizen. Infomaniac, that's a really, really good program. I like this because it has a ton of scope and a lot of things that you can actually do on it. but you do have to apply for it, unfortunately. So if you guys are interested, definitely do send your reply, because these guys are not unapproachable. If you have a decent application, they will definitely allow you. We're talking about VTM Go. This is also a media website, not very interesting for me to hack on. The same thing for VRT. Gulp is a Randstad sub branch, so again, pretty interesting if you're doing recon. InnoGames, I love InnoGames. InnoGames, that's not the first time I see you, is it right? So InnoGames, I've seen it before on HackerOne. I've hacked on it before on HackerOne. I like hacking games. It's fun. You get to play and hack at the same time. So even though there's a lot of extra complexity, I love it. I bought this book on game hacking. I can't remember the name, but it's freaking fantastic. And it really helps, just having fun. That's what bug bounties is about for me. Some people want to make a lot of money with bug bounties, but I don't think that's a good idea. It's going to be very, very stressful, and there are things that make you a lot more money for a lot less effort. Now, if we talk about Randstad, really one of my favorite programs on here, even though it's a broad scope, they have an excellent response team that will respond pretty fast. We have Arcane Networks, which is going to be a blockchain wallet provider, so not very useful. KU Leuven, again, they have the access routers in there. This might be interesting if you're interested in hacking IP ranges like you did in OSCP. This might be an interesting program, but know that you're not the only one, and a lot of people have gone before you again. So one basic recommendation is know one vulnerability to its core at least, so you can at least, if you see it, recognize it. eHealth, not very interesting. Health, this is a bank. Banking is not very interesting to me. Brussels Airlines, we've come across this before, same story here. Identity platforms are also not interesting. So I'm just going to scroll through these. As you guys can see, there is quite a lot of programs available to us, but picking the right program is super, super important. I've given you guys some general tips right now. Let's see if there are any questions in the chat, shall we? Going to scroll all the way up because there is definitely a lot of questions in here, I see. Yes, of course I remember you, Tessa Rock. Of course. Who is behind me? I would hope nobody, because that would be freaky scary. I am, my wife is next to me, but behind me, hopefully nobody. That is my kitchen. Let's see. The person is next to him. Yes, exactly. That is my wife. Let's see. Hello, Mr. Eddie. Good to have you. Wow, hello, amazing hackers. There's so much of you here. Thank you so much for the compliment on the t-shirt, Mr. Elliot. Let's see. Sent you a lot of messages on Twitter. I am sorry, I'm way behind on messages on Twitter. Please realize, and this is not a joke, you guys can see it at the bottom of my screen, that I have over 184 messages on Discord alone. That's on Discord. I also have Twitter, of course, so please have some patience. I'm really, really sorry. Let's see. Yes, we do have a shop, which I will show you guys soon. Let's see. Any more questions? Waldo's listening audio is great. That's a funny one, Mr. Lemon. Good evening, gentlemen. Do I use Bugcrowd or HackerOne, or specifically Integrity? I will always go to Integrity. Integrity is my home, one of my favorite platforms, basically because I know the people that are there, of course, not on a personal basis, but I am able to talk to them, so that's why I like Integrity quite a lot. But of course, I do like Bugcrowd and HackerOne as well. I just don't hack on them. I'm already full on Integrity. If I would show you guys, I have 9 invites open. 9 invites? What the hell am I going to do with my time? So, yeah, for me it's Integrity until I'm done there. Yes, this is recorded and will be available on my channel, and I will send it through the OWASP chapter as well, so it will be available on their channel if they have one. Thank you very much, Mr. Hunter. Let's see, anything else? Why is the audio messed up? Can I please explain the basics? We are second semester students, so I will explain the basics a little bit more, Anonymous Photon. I am really sorry, I've just jumped a little bit too far. So basically, let's talk a little bit about bug bounties first, right? So what bug bounties really is that companies are going to ask us hackers to come to them and are going to ask us to test their application. They are going to pay either a certain monetary value for things that we find, or they're going to award us with points and either swag or just a thank you. So that's basically what bug bounties is. Now, bug bounties is very, very scary. It's basically an advanced level of hacking. It's not simple anymore, because when we as bug bounty hunters get something, you guys know internal companies, they have these internal processes of putting pen testers on their software as well. This is to prevent hackers from coming in. Now, the use of bug bounty hunting and the use of bug bounty hunters is that we can employ the power of the crowd. A pen tester is just one human with one idea, and he's just going to bring it forth. Now, if we look a little bit more at the average hunter, at the average bug bounty hunter, we don't have a set methodology. For us, it's more like what's going to pop up and how are we going to handle it. We don't even look at the basics, at least we shouldn't, because they should all be gone, those low-hanging fruits. So that's basically what bug bounties is, and when you do want to go and do bug bounties, you really have to be careful when picking out your target, that you don't pick out the wrong one. So that's why I basically spent so much time on just showing you guys all of these different companies that can come to a bug bounty platform and actually try to hack on it a little bit. So let's see what else we have here. My phone keeps going off. Do you have a audio problem still? Let's see, showing you guys some demos. I will definitely show you some demo when I'm done. Let's see. Hello, Mr. Sahil Gupta. Thanks for being here. It's good to have you here. The Discord link will be in the chat by Eddie. Thank you very much, Eddie, for doing that. No, I am not using green screen. I am actually allowing you guys into my kitchen. And that little seat behind there is for my daughter. She actually sits in it while we eat. Really cool. Hello, Mr. Commando Gaming. Good seeing you here. Oh, I skipped a few. What kind of setup do you have? Do you use VPS when hunting for bugs? So this is basically my Mac that I'm working on right now. Right next to me I have a Windows computer as well, pretty powerful for setting up virtual machines and labs. If I want to test something out, I can actually basically rebuild it right where I am. I can rebuild exactly what my target has done, and I can see if I get around it that way with some more logging and debugging enabled. So that's one of the setups that I have. I have several virtual private servers for recon, of course, as well. And I'm making a recon course where I have this article on how I use the VPS. I'll put that online as well on Medium after a while. So I definitely have quite a few computers and things that I use for my hacking, but it's mostly to build up labs and actually emulate stuff that I want to see how other people have done it, and maybe if I can get around it with a little bit of extra logging. So can I recommend a HackerOne program? Yes, Roblox. Roblox is a game as well. I love game hacking. Roblox is the one where I found my very, very first valid bug, which was a duplicate, unfortunately, but duplicates are still valid for me, just not a paid valid bug. That's the annoying part. But Roblox is a really cool game. If you look a little bit deeper into the JavaScript file, they will expose all of their APIs really, really easily. And then if you go to documents of those APIs, you will find a lot of stuff. Now I'm cannot talk too much, of course, because it's an active program. So that's a program I would definitely recommend. As for Bugcrowd, takeaway.com, paypal.com, those are some really good programs. They're going to be a little bit more high level, but those are what I know. So that's for that. What will you add to your Ultimate Bug Bounty course? So the Ultimate Bug Bounty course now still needs a SQL injection part and a LFI RFI part. Now I am also creating a new course for broad scope recon, which is going to be on Podia first again and then move over to Udemy. But this basically contains quite a lot of, let me show you guys real quick, because this might be interesting as well. If you do broad scope methodologies, you do need a lot of virtual private servers, of course. So let's go to the products real quick. Here we go. And let's edit this specific product out. Now here we have this is the upcoming product that I was talking about. This is the picture that I needed. I don't have this on my desktop, that's why. This is a new computer. There we go. So this is basically my broad scope methodology. Now there's a lot of things in here that can be automated on a virtual private server. So basically everything that has a little cog icon in here, that's going to be some automation for me that I have running on my virtual private server. As you can see, only the manual parts is going to be looking through my application, and that's a little bit annoying, but I do have an aggregate server. Every now and again there's going to be one virtual private server which is going to scan all of my other virtual private servers, and it's going to grab all of the screenshots that I have. Now I will deliver some codes to the good friends at OWASP Sastra to deliver it for you guys for some of these courses as well. This is for the students only, of course. I hope you guys will understand that, but I will deliver some for the leaders of the chapter, and they can distribute the codes among the students. Can you tell how to start off with bug bounty for newcomers? I have a really good video about that on my channel. I'm not going to go too deep into that. If we have a little bit of time left, then I'm going to go deeper into that. There's a lot of messages in here. Exactly. Hello, Tatsi. Wow, there's even more. I thought we were almost there, but then there's more. No worries, my friend. This will also be recorded, so you can just watch it again right after this meeting ends. Let's see, the next one, my opinion about OWASP Sastra University. I had no idea about the university itself, but when it comes to anything regarding OWASP, I'm highly regarding those guys. They are doing non-profit work, they are doing amazing work, there's so much good that's coming from their research, and they're trying to make the internet a better place by supporting the students and the actual people who build a website. So amazing, OWASP, keep going. At JJ, know you're the best time to ask questions. Yes, if there are any questions, feel free to ask them. The brute logic video is not online yet. How long did it take you to get to your current level of XSS specifically? About a year, maybe not even a year. That would be about it. But basically I do have a lot of prerequisite experience. I've been working in IT for about 7 years before this. So if you count everything, about 8 years, but if you count the hacking part, then about 7 years maybe. Tips for OSCP, it really depends on what kind of person you are. For me, I had to buckle down and hack with friends because I'm a little bit competitive when it comes to that. I always need to be the first person to find the flag. So if I don't do that, then it's going to be pretty annoying for me, and then I'm not really happy. Let's see. It was a great session. I always thought of getting into bug bounty sometime, but always got a fear of choosing which program to try. This session cleared most of my doubts. Thank you very much, my friend. If you have any more questions, feel free to tweet at me. there are other simple ways to make money aside from bug bounties. Well, basically creating websites. It might seem like a saturated market, and it pretty much is. But if you find a medium to startup company and you offer to create them a website for a decent price, they will 9 times out of 10 do it. Because if they go to a company and have a website created, it's going to cost them quite a lot of money. Same for pen testing. Even pen testing is a lot more stable of a job to make some money with than bug bounty hunting, because you will get paid by the hour, and bug bounty hunting is pay by finding, pay by price. So sometimes you will get paid, sometimes you will not get paid for months at a time. That's why I think there are a lot of people. Let's see, not even reading that there is a thumbnail. Yes, I am reading, but I cannot switch to it. I'm not gonna switch to it in my stream, I'm sorry. Roblox, yeah, I love Roblox. Roblox is really an amazing game. I love it. Can we get a link for Roblox? Sure, there is a link. I will make it happen soon. Let's see. Is there a lot of background noise still? Because I'm pretty much done with my talk as well. I don't know if you guys have any more questions for me. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the shout out, my friend. So I don't know if you guys have any more questions for me. Let me switch over to my big kitchen view again. There we go. So thank you very, very much for being here, everybody. Again, if you have any more questions, now would be the definitely good time to ask them in the chat below. That's basically what I wanted to tell you about bug bounties and how it's nothing like normal hacking, nothing like penetration testing, how it's a completely different side of things. Because you do need penetration testing and you do need bug bounties. It's like a synergy that will never go away. It's like a yin and yang. So thank you guys very, very much for watching. I really, really appreciate the OWASP Sastra team for allowing me to do this, for allowing me to speak to so many amazing hackers. So thank you very much. I see there might be some questions still. You could make tons of money doing bug bounty, but I would not do it for the money. You could, but you could also win the lottery and strike it rich that way. So it really depends on how big you want to estimate your chances there. Yes, I'm doing this live from my kitchen. There are so many platforms for bug hunting. Is there any platforms for pen testers? For example, companies give you RDP and your job is to do network pen testing. No, that doesn't exist because the legal complications would be insane for that. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist, but it is a good idea. If you do know a lawyer or you are one and you feel like you're up to the task, please feel free to do it. I would highly appreciate that as well. Was I talking in my mic a little bit too much? I'm sorry, I'm trying to read my screen. It's a little bit small. I'm getting old. Yes, I did. I am working on it, my friends. No worries. I did answer you up. Let's see. Anybody else? Thank you for this session. Thank you for being here, everybody. I really enjoyed it. Up. If you have any more questions, feel free to DM me on Twitter. I will answer you with pleasure. If anybody else has any more questions, I will answer them as well. And please forgive the mess in my kitchen. It's really, really hard to find a good place to stream in this house with the baby sleeping. Thank you very, very much. I hope you guys will have a beautiful day and I will see you all later.